Hey everybody, I didn't introduce myself, but if you're watching this video, you're probably more interested in the comic book than me, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, now this looks like a copy of Detective Comics number 27. This is the first appearance ever of Batman. I don't need to talk about the historical significance of this comic. You either know about it, or if you don't, you can get information about this comic book from like thousands of other sources. So I'm making this video because almost every Batman fan or comic book fan has seen the original Batman story that's in this issue, which, I don't know, might take up 8 pages maybe. But this is a 64-page comic book. Look, it says 64 pages of action. So the purpose of this video is to show, well, what else is in this comic book? What's after the Batman story? So the first thing I want to clear up is that this isn't really a copy of Detective Comics number 27. I mean, if it were, I never would have taken it out of the slab. I mean, I don't believe in slabbing most comic books, but I would for this one. Now, this is from a DC Collector's Edition from the 1970s. I mean, it's larger than a typical comic. In here, let me show you. Let me just grab. Okay, this is a typical Bronze Age comic book. I sold most of my comics, but I kept stuff like this. You know, you look at it, it's pretty beat up, but it's still fun to read. And I kept stuff that I thought was undervalued and stuff that had personal memories. But anyways, this was a collector's edition, and it came out. Let me get this out of the way. This was a collector's edition, and it came with a different cover. I think it was the Detective Comics 27, but it was like framed inside the cover or something. And I bought it, I forget when. I was a kid. I remember I was in elementary school, and I was a stupid kid, and I ripped this part out. And pretended that I owned Detective Comics number 27, even though this is way larger than a normal comic book. And I'm telling you this because I didn't want serious collectors freaking out that I'm turning pages and messing it up. Like, oh, this is Detective Comics 27, and whoa, look at this, guys. Whoa, oh, there we go. I just devalued it by $5,000 just from turning the page. Anyways, plus, I don't need to do that clickbait stuff because I'm over 50 years old. I don't need to resort to that kind of thing. I have a job that has nothing to do with this. I don't care who watches this video. So I don't need to pretend that this is real. But as far as I know, even though it's a replica, this comic book I think does show what's actually inside. And so some of the stuff gets kind of crazy. So let's take a look and see what's inside Detective Comics number 27. Now this part's I'm not going to spend too much time with this even though it's Batman, because most people have seen this original Batman story. And, you know, reading this, you might not think it was anything special. You might not have thought it was anything special the first time. So, what page is this? I should know this. I've read this story so many times. I can go back. If you care how many pages it is, you can go back and count it. So, here's what's after. And I don't put any production values into this. I don't put any music or da-da-da-da-da-da. It's just, okay, so I like this. The thrilling adventures of Superman appear each and every month in Action Comics, but then it's tenderfoot. Not even a picture of Superman. All right, so that's a one page. And then you've got Speed Saunders, Ace Investigator, and the Killers of Kurdistan. Oh, remember this is 1939. I don't think the word racism existed. Or even if would that be considered? All right, anyway, I believe there's some stuff later on that gets kind of bad. So anyways, so I'm not sure about the depictions here, but things will get a little crazier later. And there's the 1939 version of gore. I wonder if that guy that made the Comics Code Authority would have found fault with that. And very skinny woman. All right. So after Speed Saunders, you have Buck Marshall, Range Detective. And for some reason, I feel like going to Pizza Hut. I don't know why. So I guess we have so you got a Western detective. All right. Not exactly, that's a lot of standing around for a Western. Okay, we're standing around, standing around, standing around. Okay, there's a little bit of action right there. Oh, I missed a shot. Blast your hide, you skulking coyote! Drop that. And then, whoa, that guy's. Okay, I'm not even gonna. And then we've got Spy by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. I think those are the Superman creators. I used to know that. Dead. He looks like Superman. All these guys have the square jaw. That looks a little bit like Dick Tracy right there. So just Spy. There's Spy. And then you got another, good Lord, he's dead too. What? And again, I'm actually not much into detective stories, so I'm not even going for plausibility. It's a lot of sitting around. Okay, whoops. I'll take that gun, please. What? Some close range shooting. You certainly cleaned that case up, Prono. That's old stuff. Bring on another. Okay, now I'm not sure. He just shot a guy, and now he's just saying, bring on another case. Isn't that kind of traumatic to shoot a guy at close range? I don't know if you want that guy working for it. Wait, you just shot a guy and you're ready to just get. I thought they were supposed to go on leave or something. Maybe things were different in the. Okay, here we go. Another costume superhero. So far, we've only had one. I don't know. Jim Chambers. So before the Avengers, there was the Crimson Avenger, mask and a red cape and a hat. Mask, hat, red cape. Okay, this one is a little bit more action. Okay, so he gets tied up, bound hand and foot. Well, I didn't count on my strength. Okay, well. And how'd you get taken down so easily by a normal guy? And he's got strength and guns, and he comes out guns blazing. All right, so is that, and do not miss the coming chapters in the exciting life of the Crimson Avenger. I don't know how many issues he got, so that might have been short-lived. And then you've got Death on the airwaves, because you got to remember there wasn't really television back then. So people listened to the radio the way that my generation watched television, and the way the current generation watches YouTube or streaming or their phones. All right, Bruce Nelson, 2 first names. So whenever you're making up a fictional male character, you want him to sound masculine, give him 2 first names. And what's the artist's name? Tom Hickey. Not bad art, but just kind of standing around talking. I know it's a detective story. And there you've got the dead damsel sprawled on her bed, legs drawn up as though contorted. That was the mystery woman. Dun dun dun. That's actually not bad for 1930s. I mean, you look at some of the pulp detective magazines and science fiction magazines. They got real provocative with some of the covers. Women on the covers. All right, so standing around. And again, I'm not much into. Okay, the mysterious Dr. Fu Manchu. All right, this is kind of. All right, this would be unacceptable by today's standards. There are a couple instances where the depiction of Chinese people or people of Asian descent is like crazy. And so, I mean, what the heck is that? I mean, come on. That's just nuts. I mean, I don't even know if DC would put this comic book out. I mean, if they would put the reprint up right now, because that would be considered so offensive today that would they even want to be associated with that? And then you got Flatfoot Flanagan, so now you got the stereotype of the clumsy cop, the Keystone Cop. Stamp Collector's Corner. I don't even know if people collect stamps anymore. I never did, but I mean, I knew people. Oh, what is it? What is it with the red? This is the second time that it's just been that. I know it must have been just a cheap color. All right, now this one, we're going with the let's make fun of Asians again. So he's gonna He is I guess a white guy who's disguising himself as an Asian. And where is it? Oh, here it is. I saw this earlier when I was scanning the comic book. I didn't read all the stories, but this one is, where is it? There's Lowe talking to a chink. I'd like to, it's like, what? Okay. So I guess that was acceptable, but it gets, and then this is him saying, me from China. Come on. Now I've been, there's one that's worse. Where is it? I saw it. Here's suddenly the barge bangs into the dock, upsetting all on board. Cosmo's jacket gets torn on a nail, and then the looky, white skin, he know China. Now look, I've been around a lot of Asians who are learning the English language. Nobody says, looky, white skin, you know, no one does that. People who are learning English as a second language don't talk like that. Alright, so anyways, this is what, I'm not sure you're missing much if you don't read that first Batman. Alright, and then you got Plainclothes Pete. This is more of the cartoony again. Oh wow, this Plainclothes Pete story goes on a little bit longer than I was expecting it to. Alright, well. And then, okay, I like this name, Slam Bradley. Again, this is even better than the two first names for a masculine guy. What is this right here? Raise them, you dumb cluck. What's the idea? I'll raise them all right. Straight to your chin. Anyways, I think the guy turns out to be another detective or a police. Oh, there you go. See? And that's what men do. We fight and then we shake hands. We don't hold grudges and then stab each other in the back later on. And then he's got the, I don't know what the deal is with the short sidekick. And then, yeah, I knew it. One look at Slam and she forgets I'm alive. Yeah, you get used to it. Is that the guy that was in that YouTube video a few months ago flipping out at the coffee shop? This is what happens when Slam Bradley's not around. And then, I remember it says even as a kid I knew this ending was stupid. Hold on a second. And then yeah, there we go. And then, hold on, where is it? Okay, so they get captured, they get tied up to the sled or the toboggan or whatever, and then they're gonna go off the cliff. Help, do something, can't, we're doomed. And then he just shows up out of nowhere. Slam Bradley alive. So, okay, so how did they get out of that? We flung our combined weight to one side, overturning the toboggan, then managed to free ourselves of our bonds. It's like, wait a minute. So they went from right there, help, do something, can't, we're doomed, to flipping over the toboggan in what kind of, I mean, when I was even as a kid, I knew that. I was, wait a minute, there's no, how did they communicate to each other? Slam Bradley would have had to said to the other guy, okay, now let's, at the count of three, we'll, on the count of one even, flip your body to the left, and by that time they're, so, anyways. And then, they didn't say there could be, they didn't say right here that there'd be more adventures of Slam Bradley. I like that name, man. That's what I should have used for my pen name. And then you've got this, All American Comics, movie comics. Okay, you're not really trying movie comics. And then, let's turn the page, and then you get your something. A telephone set, printing press. Alright, so that is it. I think this is what Detective Comics number 27 looks like. Now that'd be kind of amusing if this were all a lie. That this was not Detective Comics 27, they just made up stuff to put in there just to fool people. Because there's no way for me to verify it. There'd be no way for anybody to know nowadays because all the comic books would be slabbed. So how would you really know what's in Detective Comics number 27 anyways? But I guess we'll never know, so this is all we have. All right, well, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And stay tuned, I guess, or be on the lookout for more old comic books review. All right, thanks for watching.